Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to be taking a look at the BeQuiet Pure Base 500. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at the BeQuiet Pure Base 500. This is a mid-tower ATX chassis in the kind of mid-budget range for those of you that are interested. Now this particular model actually comes in a few different guises and a couple of different colours. So you've got three colour options. There's a white, a black, and this is the silver. Although I'm not entirely convinced it's silver. I don't know whether you can pick up from the shots. It's got a very slight hue of kind of like a beigey colour in there. So it's more like a gunmetal grey. There is definitely a hint of brown or bronze or something along those lines in there. So if you're looking for a pure silver case, this isn't it. But if you're looking for something that looks a little bit special and is a little bit different from the norm, then this might be right up your street. Now also, all three of the models actually come with varying options for side panels. So you can have the option, so you have two solid side panels like this far side, or you can have the option with a solid side panel and a glass window, as you can see on the side there. So lots of flexibility, and obviously when BeQuiet were making these, they knew they were onto a good thing, offering plenty of SKUs straight out the door with various options in mind. So first of all, let's take the side panel off and we'll get rid of some of the reflections that are happening. Now the side panel, actually, I've left the coverings on because I'm going to be doing a build on this, so this is going to get packed back in the box as soon as I finish doing this unboxing and quick review, and we'll be doing a build on this a little bit later on. But what I want to point out is little things, little attention to detail which BeQuiet have gone to on this case. Now this case is in around about the £60 mark, which is phenomenal value for money. Already on Amazon I've seen these down at that sort of £60–62 mark, which is fantastic. And obviously if you go for the option with the solid panels, you do get it a little bit cheaper again. So do check out the links in the description below and you'll see the latest prices in your regions. But what I want to point out is the small attention to detail, the kind of things that you wouldn't normally expect to see at a price point like this. Now the case obviously is being finished in this kind of gunmetal silver, but what they've also done, rather than having the surround of the glass actually just in black as you generally tend to get it, it actually is colour coded to match the rest of the case. So if I just remove this screw and peel back some of this protective film, I'm not sure if you can make it out on the camera there, but the inner surround of this glass is actually the same colour as the case. So it kind of blends into each other, which I think is actually a really, really nice touch. So I'm going to remove the rest of the thumb screws now for the side window. Now the side window isn't held on by anything other than the friction of it against these rubber grommets. So when you release the screws, do be careful in case the glass falls off. But I do find it's a very, very good fit, and there are very minimal air gaps around the outside edge. The glass itself is pretty much a completely clear. I don't think there's any tint to that whatsoever. Again, maybe you can pick some up on the screen, but I think it is very clear. So if you're going to be doing a build in there, which is going to be very dimly lit, which was going to lead me on to another thing, this has got no RGB whatsoever. So for the purists out there who are not entirely into their RGB bling, this is probably one of the better options on the market right now. Okay, so with the side window off, we can see inside now. Obviously all the insides are been spray painted or coated or treated in exactly the same colour. So the colour theme of the case is carried on throughout the rest of the interior. Again, another little nice touch. They could have quite easily done a mass production, painted the insides black and just done the outsides a different colour just to match whatever it is they're doing. But they seem to have done a very, very good job on this. So let's start with a look on the inside. So on the inside you've got this nice, I'm not even sure what you'd call the design. It's just loads and loads of little triangles. So it looks to be some good airflow on the basement area, which really isn't entirely necessary. There is a drive cage at the bottom. So with the fans on the front, you can actually get some airflow through the hard drives if you've got any installed, and then the heat will come back out of this section into the main chassis and then ejected out of the back by the large 120mm fan which is included. Which, let's talk about fans actually before we carry on too far. Now the fans, this is surprising to me because BeQuiet fans are widely known to be exceptionally good value for money, exceptionally good at doing what they do, and obviously because of the name they're extremely quiet. So for this case to actually come with not one but two BeQuiet fans the 140mm versions is phenomenal. So these fans on their own retail for around about £10, and I know that because I've purchased another one, a third fan, to go with this for when I do my build. So if you take those out of the equation, so take off £20 from the retail price of this, you're looking at around about a £40 case, which is absolutely insane. So on the inside, we've got options for installing ATX or micro ATX motherboards, or ITX if you see the need. Ideally, an ITX board is going to be your best option in here for various reasons. Now, some of those are mostly aesthetic reasons, because where the mountings are and also where the cable pass-throughs and all those kinds of things are. So if you went with a micro ATX build with the motherboard finishing around here, you've got the holes at the bottom for passing the cables through, so you're going to have some cables on show here. So ideally you want a full-size ATX board where it's going to come right down to the bottom, so you can neatly tuck your cables in the bottom for your I/O, USB 3, all those kinds of things, just to make it look really nice. Again, because this has got the side panel on it, ideally you want it to look nice. If you're going for the solid panel version, then obviously that isn't going to be a concern. Put in here whatever you see fit. And talking of pass-throughs, as we were just a second ago, you've got 3 large pass-throughs on the bottom. There's another 2 large pass-throughs on the top for things like all-in-one coolers, any kind of additional lighting you wish to put in there, passing through the CPU power, all those kinds of things. Now, another thing while we're at this sort of top section, the top is ventilated in 3 different ways. So you can either have it as standard, where it comes out of the box. It comes with this sound deadening top, which has got sound deadening material and a little bit of ventilation to allow some of the extra hot air to escape. If you choose, you can use it completely au naturel, completely open, but ideally, I guess depending where it is, you may want to have some kind of filtration or just something to prevent things falling down through into it. So they've actually also supplied this extra filter, which I think is actually a brilliant idea. Now, this filter is a magnetic filter, it's a plastic mesh, plastic surround, but it's got some magnets in the corners to hold it in place. And it actually has got also the BeQuiet logo stamped into the top. So it's not one of your kind of generic, just slap on, cut out a piece of metal filters. This has actually had a little bit of thought gone into it. It's been designed and it fits very, very nicely. And actually, in fact, you can have the filter around either way. So if you want the BeQuiet logo at the front, you can do, or certainly you can just spin it around 180 degrees and you can have it the other way around. Again, you can choose how you want to do it. If you've got this set into some sort of recess and you find the filter difficult to grab from the back, you can just grab it from the front if you put it around this way, making maintenance a whole lot easier. So at the top, let's talk about fans actually. So fan wise, obviously in the rear, as we've discussed, we've got the 140mm BeQuiet Silent Wings 2. That's a 3-pin fan on there, not a 4-pin, so it's not the PWM version unfortunately, but most motherboards now will automatically detect whether you're using DC or PWM, so no real issues there. So 140 or 120 on the back, obviously it's got 140, so you'd be mad to replace that. In the top, you've got the option for 2 120s or 2 140s. They are offset as well, so if you plan to use an AIO configuration, then it is mounted slightly out from the motherboard, so you shouldn't have had too many issues. If you go for anything a little bit larger, you may find interference if you've got large VRM coolers or RAM, which has got big heat sinks. So do bear that in mind, but I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. There is quite an offset on there. On the front, now the front, actually, if I take the front panel off, and if you have a quick look at the front panel is a kind of brushed aluminium effect, and again has been finished in exactly the same color as the rest of the case. You've also got a very modest kind of BeQuiet logo on the bottom there, which looks really nice, very minimalist. And you've got filtration along 3 sides, so all along the side panel on both sides, with actually removable additional filters as well. And also there's a large section at the front for taking in cooler air as well. No intake from the top, which is actually probably a good idea, just in case of any spills or anything like that. But the front panel, again, as with most BeQuiet things, in fact, actually I think pretty much every single panel on here, apart from the glass and the rear, has got sound deadening equipment. So this has got a sound deadening pad top to bottom, extremely reminiscent of the Fractal Define cases. So it's a very, very similar design ethic, build quality to the Fractal Design cases, or Define rather. It's a very, very sturdy build, but for a really low amount of money, I'm surprised they managed to do it. I guess they have saved some money here because they've gone with a plastic front rather than a solid metal construction, so obviously there's cost savings involved in that. But yeah, I'm completely bamboozled by how they've managed to do it for the money. Anyway, let's talk about these fans on the front. So on this front section, we've got the BeQuiet Silent Wings 2 fan, which is again a 3-pin version, not a 4-pin, so not a major deal, but worth pointing out. You've got options on here, so you can move this up and down, so you can have 2 140s on the front, like I said, or 3 120s. I think personally, because of the way the filtration works and it's a little bit restricted, then the 140s make a lot more sense on here. I'm going to be using the configuration with 2 140s on the front just to give it a little bit of an extra boost, just so I can reduce the actual RPMs of the fans, because I'm hopefully going to be putting this behind me to replace that one, and this is hopefully going to be completely silent, well, give or take. Plenty of options on the front, great filtration. Because of the way that it's actually been set up and configured, you can get a radiator in the front here if you wanted to, and then have the fans mounted behind, or put the radiator behind and put the fans in front. However you see fit, the options are there for either. And depending which way you do it, it's actually not going to impede on the front panel being pushed back on either, because there's quite a recessed channel behind there. So again, massive amounts of flexibility. So let's take a look at the side of the case, or the back side of the case, however you want to put it. Again, nice to see thumb screws on here. Lots and lots of sound deadening pads on there. So again, even the inside edge of this has all been coated in the same colour of silver or bronze or whatever you want to call it. So it all looks really, really nice. So let's spin this around so you can get a good look at it. So very minimalistic, extremely functional. Let's see, let's start at the top left. So top left corner, we've got this is the drive mounting area. There's also this little punch out piece here, which is got the BeQuiet logo on. So this is designed so that if you mount 2.5-inch drives on there, you put your cables through to power the drives through there, and then on the front you see the BeQuiet logo, and it covers up most of the cabling, which I think is a fantastic little idea. This is again thumb screwed on, as most things are in this case, and this whole section is removable. This section actually does incorporate the cable management channel, so this channel, when it's in the front, is actually covering up where your cables come through and go into the motherboard. Great idea. There's no rubber grommets or anything on here, it's all done through this channel, which actually I prefer. Rubber grommets after a while tend to get loose and fall out and all those kinds of things, and a bit of a pain, and more times than not they're in the wrong place or not quite the right place. At least with this you've got the entire channel to work with, so depending on what motherboard you've got. ASRock boards have got certainly weird places where they put sort of USB 3 headers, that kind of thing, so it's actually, this is going to make building for me a lot easier. So you can store up to 2.5-inch drives on there, so hard disk drives or SSDs, whichever you choose. You've got this nice wiring area. Everything here is cable tied as well, so it's keeping things nice and neat and simple, and also keeping that area quite free. At the bottom here we've got the removable drive cage, so if we quickly take that out, so again just 2 thumb screws on this one, no screws or anything on the bottom of the case, and that pulls out. And again, it's all been done in this nice kind of almost like a champagne gold silver colour. Rubberized grommets on the side as well, and all the screws are in the accessory box. So you just line up your drive, put the screws in, and these are anti-vibration pads, so if you are using older mechanical drives you should be fine. You can also, if you want to, there are 4 mounting holes on the base, so you can put another 2.5-inch drive, so an SSD or hard disk drive, whichever you choose, on that bottom section. So you could quite easily put a 3.5-inch drive on the top, 2.5 on the bottom, and there's no need for any additional rails or caddies or anything like that. So all of this bottom basement is enclosed from the other side. You've got the ventilation, like I said, and you've got your pass-throughs for the cables. But you've got a really nice area of here for lots of space, and it is all fully filtered as well. The filter, surprisingly, actually runs from the very front to the very back of the case, all in one, and it actually removes from the front of the case as well. So if you've got your case in some kind of desk or whatever, or some kind of unit, then it's nice and easy to get to. So if you take the filter out now, so from the front you just pull the filter forward, and you can see we've got a full-length filter, and the filter actually guides into the feet. They act as a holder, so nice and easy, and hopefully I should be able to do this from here without looking. Hey, there we go, pretty simple. Well, simple-ish. So power supply wise, you've got no problems there. You can pretty much fit anything you want in there, and again it's all going to be fully filtered from this basement area. Let's move this around slightly. We've also got additional area here for another 2.5-inch drives. Again, you can choose whether you want hard disk drives or SATA drives. Tons and tons of cable tie down points wherever you want them to be. And there are all these nice wide ones, so you don't have to use cable ties if you don't want to. You can use the Velcro straps. You can pick up Velcro straps really cheaply on Amazon, places like that. Just buy a roll of it and then snip off whatever you need, and you can make an absolutely amazing looking build on the back here. Make it all super, super slick. I think that's pretty much it. We've got some really nice cutouts, as I said, for cables. And the cutouts for the cables actually are into like a V channel. I'll try and get some B-roll of it and hopefully flash it up. But there's an absolute ton of room to get cables through. So rather than being like just two-dimensional, they're actually kind of three-dimensional holes. So you can get really big chunky cables through with very little difficulty. Very nice. This drive cage here is actually removable, again on thumb screw. So you can put your drives in and put it back in, or if you're mounting some kind of CPU and you need to get access to the back plate, this is going to come off really easily to give you access to that. So let's move around to the back of the case. Not particularly exciting here, but we'll move around nonetheless. So again, we've got our I/O shield area, 140mm fan area. You can put a 120mm if you wanted to, but again, why would you bother when they've supplied this one? You've got 7 PCI Express cutouts, and you've got these nice quick releasey thumb screws, although that is probably the one thing I don't like about these. I'm not a big fan of these kind of retention brackets. Chances are I'd probably leave that off and just have access to those. And again, all of those are thumb screws as well, so you don't need a screwdriver pretty much for any of this, which is odd because I actually did a post on Instagram with screwdrivers saying I'm ready to do my build, and actually I don't think I'm going to need a screwdriver. Maybe for the motherboard pillars or screws for that, but other than that, pretty much everything is on thumb screws. Now, power supply wise, the mounting, because of where it is situated in the side, you can't put it in from the side, so you have to put the power supply in from the rear. So again, all thumb screws, and just a matter of releasing that, attaching it to the back of your power supply. And actually, that's a really nice thing. They've actually put a rubber gasket all the way around the outside of there, just to help with noise dampening or any resonance going through the power supply, and actually connecting to the side there. That is a nice little touch. I am very impressed. I think that's pretty much it from that side. So we're back round to the front, or the side, or however you want to see it. So there we go. It's completely naked as it is now. That is pretty much it. I'm shocked. I am quite shocked. This is a very cost-effective case. It covers pretty much every single base I could possibly think of. The only thing I would possibly criticise, if I was being hypercritical, would be that front panel being completely solid. It would be lovely to see a replacement version of that front panel just done in mesh. So BeQuiet, if you're watching this video, please, please, please make a new replacement front panel with a mesh on the front. And I think this case would be an absolute winner. I don't think there'll be anything else on the market to touch it. I'm looking forward to doing a build in this to see what the actual airflow like, the characteristics, the noise floor and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to see how that goes, don't forget to click on the buttons down there, subscribe button and the chime icon, and you'll be notified of the future video releases. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. This has been the BeQuiet PureBase 500 MIDI Tower ATX case. I'm really impressed. Hopefully you guys are, and if you want to pick one up, don't forget to use the affiliate links in the video description. But in the meantime, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.